Happy 4th of July. Right down to the wire, but I did it. Hey, it's Care. Welcome to my Take at the Lake. It's pouring rain here. Literally gonna rain on our parade today. Which the mean old Krabby Crafter Grinch in me is happy about because I love the rain. I don't care what day it is. As promised, I said I'd show you the final products, and here we are. I will start with where we started, which was the altered book. I got Wreck-It Rita out because I was thinking I wanted to age up this cover somehow. Something simple that made it look older than it is. And so I got Wreck-It Rita out and I tried some samples. I wanted to make sure I could still see the red and blue behind. And so I put gauze down, cheesecloth, with napkin over it, coffee dyed. Gauze down with tissue paper over it, coffee dyed. Gauze down, no coffee dye, and then went over it with my dirty dauber. Well, I didn't like how any of them turned out. And so, thank goodness for Wreck-It Rita, because I didn't wreck my pretty journal. I had said from the onset I wanted to keep these very simple and clean. This is messy and complicated, so I'm glad I tried it here and not here. Yay for Wreck-It Rita. She is my experimental book. I try out all my wacky ideas on her before trying it on a project. I have a whole video. I'll link it below. So what I ended up doing on the cover is just simple stickers that I reinforced with art glitter glue. Very simple washi tape on the spine to cover up the title, and the Give Me Liberty title is perfect, and I believe it was in silver, which is awesome. Or no, it was maybe like a gold. I don't know, but I don't like just covering up half. I think it looks silly. And so I covered up the whole thing because the title is here too, so I didn't lose anything. In addition to the My Porch Prints kit, I purchased this 12-pack of washi tape from Amazon. What I liked about it is it has vintage and bright all in the same package. I didn't have to buy two different packages. So there's a white, and an off-white. Off-white. Most of them are off-white, but there were a couple that had the bright white. So that was perfect. What I didn't like about this, it's a mini product review, is that they're cut funky. I keep getting little slivers of pieces off because of the way that they're cut, and because of the way they're not cut well, they don't tear well either. You see how this piece has come off but left a sliver behind, and so it makes for crooked tearing. This piece should just be that width all the way around, but because it was cut poorly, it tore poorly, and I didn't want to waste it. And I thought it kind of added to the aged old look, you know, it tore, whatever. Some parts are okay, some parts not so much. And I've found that to be true with at least half of them. A couple I didn't use, so I can't say for sure. But my guess is if one's cut crappily, the rest are cut crappily too. Another thing that I bought way back when for this project were these nice bright red, white, and blue, excuse me, red and blue from the Dollar Tree, just to play with. So the finished book, I'm pretty happy with how it came out. I'm really surprised how bloody long it took, but it takes as long as it takes. Love these stickers. I don't know if you, oh, there. Yeah, you can see the glitter in these vintage stickers. Kind of a nice mix of new and old. Something about a different perspective is fantastic. One of the other videos in this series, I was whining because my art glitter glue made my prints bleed. And I was trying to figure out a way to cover them up. And the only way I could come up with was pastels. Oil pastels or chalk pastels. Or maybe gelatos. Something where you didn't have to add water. Because that's the problem. Moisture was causing my prints to bleed because I do not have a laser jet printer. Laser jet printers set the ink, and so you're free to Mod Podge or glue your heart to your heart's content, and it won't bleed. Just a regular simple printer, the ink is not set, so it will bleed. And I knew this, but I thought if I used just a tiny bit of art glitter glue, it would be fine, which it may have, but I didn't use a little bit. I put a whole bunch down in that spine when I was gluing these in, and so, duh, it's my own fault. So I cried and whined about it, and Janet Nash said, it's a beautiful green. It reminds me of the Statue of Liberty green, copper that has corroded. And I thought, that's brilliant. Of course it's Statue of Liberty green. It's perfect. Someone else's perspective. I probably never ever would have thought of that. I'd have just been bummed that it turned green. And so consequently, I got Janet's comment nice and early, like immediately after the video came out, about this Statue of Liberty green. One more layer of patriotism for Dad to appreciate. So I didn't even try to clean it up as I had planned, because I really liked that way of looking at it. I gave my mom a sneak peek, and she said she didn't notice the green. If she did, she thought it was part of the design. Bully for all of us. You know, we're so hard on ourselves and so critical of stuff that we do that it really helps. So Janet, thank you for the new and fresh perspective and a positive way of looking at it, which I try to always do, but you know, sometimes we're just too close to stuff. So, and Carrie at Mixed Media Arts chimed in as well and agreed, you know, it was a very pretty green, and it is, you know, it's not offensive. So thank you, ladies, for your support and your fresh perspective and positive way of looking at something that I thought went completely sideways. So I did keep it very simple, all side pockets, and I love in some of them, some of the chapter titles remain, and they're pretty cool, what we stand for, which I thought was kind of a neat little detail that I didn't plan for sure. It just sort of happened. So a quick flip through, all side pockets. These front pages don't have any pockets, but all side pockets, except for two in the very back that are top pockets. I used those shiny stickers with glitter throughout, just to snazz it up a little bit. Some of the ephemera that I had found, this is from a 1960s Reader's Digest story, Air Force story. I glued them together, cut them down to size, and just tuck them in. You know, primarily just to have an interactive, something fun that he can, you know, maybe he'll, every time he opens it, discover something new. But they fit beautifully. I only had to trim a little bit off. I could save all of the text. I did add the My Porch Prints tabs. I had to make sure that I glued them inside the pocket, so I didn't glue my pocket shut and make a teeny pocket. So I had to make sure to do that. And there were only 4. I could have printed more, but I just decided to use what I had. The flag is the centerpiece, center fold, if you will, center image. And I was going to put an a traveler style notebook in here, but I didn't want to jack up the flag because then you'd only see half of it at a time. And I just really liked that center fold. It's another Reader's Digest picture. I may put little washi tabs on here so they're easier for him to pull in and out. It's got big fingers, big hands. This one needs trimming, more trimming yet, so I'll have to come back and do that. You know, they're never done until they leave the house. They're never done. I keep putzing with it and putzing with it. Some repeats. Really happy with how it all worked together, how that page edging just kind of ties in nicely. Again, it's not exact and it's not perfect, but the whole thing looks nice and old, which was the goal. Beautiful sticker. This was a pretty new card I aged with vintage photo. I liked the metal and the airplane and the flag in the back. I'm not sure he was much into baseball as a kid, but who knows what he did as a kid. I don't know. This is the Mount Rushmore stuff. This is from a 1954 National Geographic, 1953 National Geographic book. So I just folded it and tucked it in. One more thing for him to find. I like this. This is from, I believe it was a 1960s children's book called Nature at My Door, I think. And just super pretty. I coffee dyed it a little bit just to age it even further. And the way he stands, he's so tall that he stands like that. And I just think it's a nice, even though he stands way out of the book, I like the flag, the document, and the eagle. I like how it all works together. Added another little flag there. And then in the very back pocket is the 1963 Man with the Banjo music. This was naturally aged. I didn't do anything to it. I could have aged it a little bit more, but I just liked that I just wanted to leave it natural. I did put a traveler style notebook in here, but at the back. That way it's not, as if it was up here in the centerfold. Like I said, you would only, well, I suppose that would have worked, but meh. This is what it normally looked like, and I took a picture of it, took it up to Canva, made it really transparent. I did that to all the pages so that they would be, you can write on them, but still the whole thing would tie in with the rest of the book. That was important to me. Aged all the edges, tore this the same way I tore these with that tearing ruler that I made. I backed it. I think I said this in the DigiKit video. I backed it with my random papers kit just to give it some variety. So there's miscellaneous ads or music, all vintagey, just because. And so he can take this out if he's at a meeting. He can take this right out of here and write in it and then tuck it back in. And I can make him more if he fills that up. I used the numbers from the My Porch Prints kit. And then just a little sort of hallmarky stamp at the end. Very happy with how it turned out. Like the simple cover. Like having the traveler's notebook in the back. It just fits nicely. That elastic just fits nicely in that curve of the natural curve of the spine. There's a divot there and it fit perfect. You could put one in the front too if you wanted to. I might do that. I might not. Today's the day. I have to deliver this today, so I gotta quit messing around with it. As I've said before, when I do gifts like this, I always do a bundle. So this is the accompanying junk journal that I made. Again, very plain white cover. I thought it looked really cool with the red and blue. Simple washi tape cover up of the title of the book. I did gut this book. I don't know what I was thinking. I did not my best work right there, but it's done and I'm moving on. 3 signatures. The book is a teensy bit taller than it needs to be, but I liked the white cover enough to decide that that was fine. This is this is vintage by now, book beads that I made 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Long time. Vintage. This is a vintage book bead that I made way back when, and I attached it to a bookmark. And stuck that in here. Just on a couple pieces of scrap paper. One was cardstock. So, all of those papers and stuff that I had, I don't know if you remember, but I had 2 Ziploc bags full of stuff. This is all that's left. I didn't use any of the ribbon. I didn't use many of the cards. I didn't use any of those things, or of the beads. That's all that's left of those 2 Ziploc bags full of stuff. So, zoom out just a little bit. See that? Zoom in. Can't zoom in before you zoom out, or vice versa. My porch prints on cardstock. The pages I took out. So what did I end up doing? So I took all that time to separate bright and vintage and ended up mixing it all together anyway. Ugh. What I did was go through both of those bags and pull out anything I could use as a page. First, I pulled out all the things I wanted to tuck into the altered book. And then I pulled out anything that I could use as a page in the junk journal. Of course, my porch prints kit that I had printed 2-sided. Wallpaper. The pages from the almanacs, I believe. This is the Great Seal of the U.S., the flag of the United States, the Stars and Stripes, all about it. Early flags, adding new stars, and on the back, the Confederate States, succession and government, the Gettysburg Address, and the origin of the national motto. They weren't big enough to make as a regular page. I didn't want to glue them down because there's stuff on both sides, and so I just hinged them in with washi tape. Once I had all the pages pulled out of the package of stuff that I had, I went in my pre-made coffee dyed stash and I pulled out a handful of those, and I printed quite a few of the My Porch Prints pages again and back them like I did with the Traveler Style Notebook with some of my random pages. Coffee dyed, scrapbook paper. I had a couple things left to tuck in. Largest parade of flags. And wherever it was too bright, too blank, I used a piece of the kit, the My Porch Prints kit. This is a pocket from My Porch Prints. I put it on manila folder. Tuck some things in here. This is an envelope from My Porch Prints. I love this little, these were tags, but I didn't cut them. I just made a little concertina holder out of them. I also ran a whole bunch of I made a coffee stained page on Canva and use that as backing. Just an old calendar. This is an envelope from the kit. Some of the tags from the kit. This is the backing paper that I made. So they're journal cards. Model railroad information. Because he used to collect model railroad stuff. So I included that nearby. Because that's the only two things about trains. I should have left this as a pocket and tucked that in. I was not thinking at all, but that would have been cool. Maybe I'll clip it. Duh. Hindsight is such a pain in the derriere. This is from a calendar. I liked the leaving the edge on. It was upside down and a calendar on the back, so I glued this memo page on here. This is an envelope with his name on it that I coffee dyed. Of course, it's a pocket with a journal card. I like putting stuff with their name in it, making it their own. So here's a good example of vintage and bright. I could vintage photo this. I could take the oxide, Tim Holtz vintage photo, and grunge that up. But once I decided it was okay to mix and match, which before when I started, absolutely not going to do that. I was going to have the altered book be one way and the junk journal be the other. It didn't work out that way. What was happening was I was making it too complicated and trying to make too many decisions and burning out before I even got started. And so one of the things I admire about Pam at the Paper Outpost is she seems to be a grab and go junk journaler. Like whatever's near her is fair game. Where I tend to matchy, it has to coordinate, very rigid in that. And so I decided I was just going to go. Just go. And if it was bright next to vintage, oh well. It's still patriotic. So in my brain, it's still matchy. It's just not as differentiated as I had originally planned. Each signature has a calendar page as a centerfold, and I just love this one. It's just a beautiful painting. I did vintage photo this up a little bit because it was bright and shiny. You can see how shiny and glossy it is. I did vintage that up a little bit. Vintage, bright, but then I added that one of those ribbons from that second kit that I purchased. I say ribbon because it looks like ribbon. Some pages are very plain, and that's okay. Not many, but I wanted to leave him space to write or glue or do whatever he wants in here. Bald Eagle. This was from an old book, but it wasn't very vintagey, so I grunged it up with vintage photo and black soot. Again, I don't mind cross-pollinating. I think it adds depth and texture. I really like how the black and brown works together. They both have a lot of yellow and green in them, and so they kind of, when they're still wet, they'll make a bit of a third hue that's greenish. Oddly enough, I'm embracing the green now. Check me out. Where there was a calendar, I just glued something over it. Because not only was it a calendar, it was upside down. And that, I can't have. Rosie, I just love her. Again, bright white, grunge, 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 half and half. It's okay. I'm okay. I'm okay, which is odd to me. The maps, because they travel all the time. This, I found, that was from the phone book. Pages from the phone book. I had quite a bit of it. And so it was nice to put it throughout the book, hither and yon. One more way to tie everything together. This is wallpaper. I used a piece of phone book to cover up the wallpaper brand. Not great. The spine is way too wide for the 3 signatures that I put in. And look how crooked. I don't know how I did that. Even drops down about a quarter an inch or more. Nice going. Nice job. Oh, well, it's junk journal. Signature number 2. More from the phone book. On some of the pages I wanted to jazz up, I just used pieces from the My Porch Prints. Calendar. It is the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. If I folded it in half, practically the soldier in the tomb would be in the crease, and we'd have sky and trees, and so I had to fold it off center, and then just have a pretty lake and water, or mountains and sky, or whatever that is. And then I covered it up with a scrap piece of paper. Same thing as earlier. This is information, all kinds of cool stuff. Speech to the Virginia Convention, Declaration of Independence, adoption and of the Declaration, 1776 notes, the original 7 articles, the Constitution, signers of the Declaration of Independence, origin of the Constitution. Just really cool patriotic stuff from some old almanac. And I just, again, hinged them in with washi tape. Calendar cover, but I really liked it. That one of the little notebooks I just tucked into an envelope. More papers. There she is, Lady Liberty in all her green glory. That's so cool. I just have a new thing for Lady Liberty in her greenness now. I love having the envelopes in here. Journal cards, again, all backed with that backing paper on cardstock, so they're a little bit thicker. So fun, and I love being able to see Uncle Sam through that window. I think that's very fun. This is a beautiful envelope from the My Porch Prints kit. I put it on manila envelope to make it more substantial, and I cannot take any credit for this. I folded it so it would fit in here. Period. But look how it ended up. How cool is that? This is that great big support our troops newspaper thing. I trimmed it all down so that I took off all the white borders, and then I just went to folding so that it would fit in that envelope. I had no idea until I flipped it over that you know, sometimes the universe is on your side, and he just fits in there so beautifully. I'm so excited for when Dad discovers that, because I'm not going to point all this stuff out to him. I'm going to make him go through it, open all the stuff, and figure it all out for himself. So I can't wait till he sees that. Again, I left the fringe. I just really like that. This is a pretty cool little layered pocket from the My Porch Prints. I could have left the back open and had 1, 2, 3 pockets, but I did not. There's Uncle Sam again, and these are the ones that I grunged up. 1, 2, 3, 4 pockets it would have been. And there's our guy. I did trim off the bottom explaining about the tomb of the unknown soldier and it being guarded 365 no matter the weather, 24/7, 365, and that went in a different place. So almost every page has something on it, but there's plenty of room for growth. I'm thinking he'll use it as a smash book, maybe, you know, when he finds stuff that he likes, he can just tuck it in or tape it in or whatever. A few extra pages of that memo sheet. There was only 4. Another little envelope. I don't have anything to tuck in that one. From the My Porch Prints, another pocket from the My Porch Prints. This is the 3rd. So Lady Liberty was the 2nd centerfold. And this is the 3rd centerfold of the 3 signatures. Looks like a pocket. It is not. Very fun. I'm very happy with how this turned out. However, and I love the white cover, but if you remember, part of the collection that I had was this book cover, which fits perfect. Ta-da! It's super, super soft. The white cover is protected. The only beef I kind of have is that it covers up most of the inside page. But super easy. I didn't have to make it. So essentially it's got 2 covers on. 2 for the price of 1. It will protect the white cover and keep it nice. Plus, he used to have a pillow made of this. It was his driving pillow. And he drove a lot. That's what he did for a living. And so I think he'll really like that texture of it. And, you know, it couldn't be more perfect as far as theme-wise. So that's going to be the cover of it. This took maybe half the time as the altered book. I used to, when I first started, I was afraid to make a book, make a junk journal. I thought altering something already made would be easier and faster. I have not found that to be true. I find that these altered books are way more time-consuming and complicated than folding some papers in half and sewing them into a spine and gluing that into a book cover. And it still kind of matches. It's not quite the right red, but whatever. Not my books anymore. As I said, I usually give a bundle. So he's got an altered book and a junk journal and a glue book. This is just a composition book that I went to town on with some a sponge and some acrylic paint. This stuff that I got from Dollar Tree and some white, and just suggested a flag just for fun. I did the pages just to grunge those up a little bit. And the stuff that was left over that I didn't have room for in the other 2 projects went in here. So the Disney stuff is in here. I just kind of got him started. Some bigger pieces that I couldn't fit in the other projects. Turkey Vulture. Turkey Vulture story. It's, you know, once you build up to something, the delivery is usually pretty pathetic. But my parents ride Gold Wings. I was with my husband and we were on a motorcycle. We were on his Harley behind my parents on their Gold Wing. And we'd gone on a day trip. We'd gone downstate, and wherever the road took us, we went. And we went for lunch. Did some sightseeing wherever we were. We might even played miniature golf. Just had a great day. And we drove home. And parents ahead of us, maybe 2 or 3 car lengths in front of us on the highway. And my dad, who was Mr. Safe Driver, he saw a turkey vulture right on the side of the road. And when he drove past it, it flew out. It took off. And he put his arm out to motion, hey, and we saw it. We saw this huge bird leave the center of the road and go off into the woods. Well, as I said, we were behind him quite a ways, and so when we caught up to where whatever it was feeding on was, he had circled back to come get it, not thinking ahead, not seeing us coming. And so when he came back, his wings, one of his wings, his right wing went around the front of our windshield, and his back wing went behind my head. And he figured it out at the same time we did, and he started to kind of backpedal away from us. What I did was I put my hands over my head and tucked my head way in and put my hands up, and God love hubby, he just kept that bike straight, and he just steered that bike while that bird was trying to get up off us. Oh, a little while down the road, we pulled off for gas or whatever, and it was so soon still. My legs were still like jello. Husband's legs were like jello. Dad said, hey, did you see that turkey vulture? I'm like, yeah, it about killed us. Husband says to me, honey, next time something like that happens, you got to get the bird off of us. I keep the bike on the road. You get the bird off of us. You don't tuck and pretend like it's not there. Sorry, I didn't know what else to do except take cover. That's my turkey vulture story. And so it's one of those family lore stories. Yeah, we saw it right up close and personal. Yes, we did. It touched us. Thanks for asking. That's my turkey vulture story. I hinged these in with washi because on the back it's bald eagle. How cool is that? So I had to leave that. And I cut this one out because they like to go to Florida so much, and this is certainly a Florida bird. But on the back of that was the turkey vulture, so I just had to washi tape those in so that he could. And I left little tabs. They're folded up little tabs, so he knows that you have to open them. At least that's my hope. That's my turkey vulture story. Miscellaneous. Just for fun. I did use the blue applique stickers here. There were some gold ones. I'm going to save those for my uncle's war book. A map of where my dad used to have his house when they had 2 houses downstate. The Victorian stuff about Independence Day and Memorial Day. The cover of that story. And because Dad's a superhero, the superhero paper went in here. So fun. So again, I'm hoping he just uses this as a smash book or a notebook, or I don't know what he's going to do with it, but hopefully have some fun with it. And who's surprised? Ding, 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 ding. What's the bonus, Bob? This is my favorite bit. My favorite part. I showed you that I had printed a miniature version of all the Porch Prints papers that I liked, and I made this little leather looking thing. This comes right out. I tore the pages just like I tore the pages on all the other stuff, and then modeled them with black soot and vintage photo and walnut stain. They got wet here and there, and again, look at Statue of Liberty green. How beautiful. Just the miniature version. I tried to make them alternate the pages, so some were stars and stripes, and some were mix and match, and some were the regular. I just love this little guy. What will he do with it? Probably lose it. I don't know. I just think it's cool as hell. And my favorite part is this. I wanted it to look like, what would it look like 240 years ago? You know, it wouldn't have been perfect, and well, this matches that. I put a little stick in there to keep the knot from coming through the hole, and I just like the stick. Folded up my weird piece. This little piece of paper leather, I used gauze and tissue and craft paper on either side. That took as long to make as anything else because I was experimenting, trying to figure it out. I wanted leather cord. I don't have leather cord. This is as close as I came. It's just black cording. Wrap it around, tuck it in. That's my favorite bit of the whole thing, so it'll tuck in somewhere. The only other thing that I have are these. I did not get to use these, so I think what I'll do is take a few of them and just make tabs in the glue book, just because I just really wanted to use them, so I think I'll probably still do that. I'll wrap it all up. I'll show you the cool bag I got. I got that to go with. That's his favorite thing. He had it painted on his motorcycle trailer. He liked it so much. And so there's a bag that matches. Matchy. And some Twizzlers because red, white, and blue, and he loves strawberries, so why not? So that is his junk journal gift bundle. Junk journal, altered book, glue book, mini journal. Ta-da! I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. Thanks for sticking out, watching this process. I hope you got some ideas. I hoped it saved you some trouble. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Well, take care. Enjoy your day. I'll take it to the lake. Out for now.